A/B fucking testing. I know everyone's talking about it for so much time. I know it's such a like essential kind of thing, but people just neglect it. It doesn't matter how many offer owners I know. It doesn't matter how many networks use and push tons of traffic to affiliates and internally. I keep seeing A/B testing as something that's being left outside, which is totally crazy. It's like I can't even imagine people call themselves marketers but don't A/B test. It's crazy. It's like no matter how much time I'm spending talking to people, people just tend to neglect it totally. So first of all, before I even forget, if you like this video, please share it. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel so you could see more of my content. I'm working really hard on creating a lot of content for you guys, just because I believe sharing knowledge should be free. So please do it now. So I'm meeting so many people that are just like, leaving money on the table. And I know it became such like maybe even a joke in this industry, but they are really leaving money on the table. And I'm talking about people who are generating revenues of like 1 million at least a month. So those guys are just not A/B testing their landing pages, their offers, and they just like push more and more and more traffic. Those people are just crazy, totally crazy. So it's either that those people don't really understand how CPL or CPA works, or their setup is just like totally bad. So unfortunately, it's probably a combination of both. So just so we could get this small trivial thing out of the way and help like the newer guys who are watching this video, your cost per result, doesn't matter if it's a leads campaign or like an acquisition, you're pushing an e-com product, maybe it doesn't matter, is a combination of your CPC and your conversion rate. So if you want to lower the cost per result, the cost per lead, the cost per acquisition, you need to either pay less for your traffic, your CPC needs to be lowered, or you need to get a higher conversion rate. So in general, a higher conversion rate can be obtained by targeting or optimizing your landing page, and that's where A/B testing becomes relevant, right? So the thing is, and I believe that's the main barrier that people don't use. They just like rip or just like use HTML, and they don't really use a website builder or like a landing page builder. And those tools are out there and they are pretty good. Like you can choose one tool that you can use, and the thing is that when you don't use them, it becomes like such a big thing, a burden to just like make some changes into your landing pages. So people don't do it, or they maybe do it at the beginning and then they stop. So your setup needs to include a good or just like the simplest solution of like a landing page tool that will just allow you to drag and drop some elements inside the page and create different variations of your landing page by just clicking. It needs to be simple, it needs to be non-reliant on a coder or someone like that, um, because if you're not going to just use that type of tool, you're not going to do it, believe me, okay? It's unlikely to happen. So you need to make sure your landing page is running on a platform like maybe Instapage, Unbounce. I heard really good stuff about VWO, but didn't really get the chance to use it. Any of those platforms allow you to basically duplicate your current variation and do some A/B testing. So I'm going to share some wolf tips, which I'm really excited about on A/B testing. And if you guys have any questions, you can ask me and I'll just reply, or maybe even upload another video because some ideas just like come later on after I post those videos. So the first wolf tip would be to remember A/B testing never ends. I always run at least 2 variations of the same landing page. Okay, so of course it's not exactly the same. I'm trying to make one specific thing that would differentiate one from another, because I want to make sure like that specific element, that specific color, maybe that video or that image made the difference, because I want to make progress. A lot of times people just make like really different two variations and they can't really decide which one was the right one or why. So the first thing would be just like my rule of thumb or my methodology in terms of A/B testing would be starting with big changes like two different A/B testing, two different landing pages. The design can be like really different. And then after a while, like two, maybe three of those tests, I would just choose the winner and start optimizing that, starting to make changes in that specific design of like smaller and smaller and smaller elements. And sometimes, by the way, you would make an A/B test that would drop your conversion rate, and that's okay. Okay, so if you think you are done, basically, you can always go deeper. That's my first wolf tip, guys. Always go deeper. And how you go deeper is create a landing page and A/B test variation for each platform. If you're running on Facebook, Google, and some native platforms, create an A/B test for each one. I can promise you that sometimes the loser on Facebook would be the winner on Taboola, for example, something like that. So that's the first one. The second one would be creating an A/B test for remarketing. Don't forget that audience is a different audience. Even the guys that are A/B testing are not A/B testing for remarketing audience. You have tons of traffic. Show them something different. Talk to them in another way. The angle needs to be completely different. The conversion rate there is like really the easiest A/B test and money on the table that you can just pick up. So have one for like cold audience and one for the warm audience, and make sure you just it doesn't matter how you choose you want to do it and what's your strategy. Just please never stop A/B testing. And if you want to go deeper, by the way, you can test mobile and desktop and tablets, meaning that some variations would be the winners on the desktop traffic, and those same variations would have a losing mobile version that you just want to change that maybe. So don't forget that people on different platforms act in a different way. My second wolf tip would be that remember, when you're just starting a campaign on Facebook, the pixel is just warming up a lot of the times, and you need to give it time to start optimizing. When it gets data, it becomes smarter. The conversion rate, because of the targeting, is going to be higher. So the first two or even three variations of the landing page aren't really getting the same chances as the older ones. So you might want to just like retest them. And my third wolf tip would be when you're creating a new A/B test, make sure you copy the variation of the champion, basically the current variation which is getting traffic, your current winner, just because you want to get the clean results. You want to give them both a fair chance, because a test is only fair when you clean the field. So make sure you A/B test.